To China now, which has said its economy is expected to grow by 5% this year, despite the impact of a worsening trade war with the United States. Premier Li Qiang made the forecast at the opening session of China's National People's Congress. The gathering of around 3,000 delegates is a largely ceremonial event to give rubber stamp approval to decision-making by the ruling Communist Party. But it does give some indication of the Chinese leadership's priorities. I'm now joined by DW's resident China watcher, Clifford Coonan. Clifford, is this forecast for economic growth less or more than expected?
Well, it was widely flagged. I think what people were expecting it, but I think the question people are asking now is how they're going to reach this. The economy is still sluggish, and everything is up in the air. Just like everything else in the world, it seems. Donald Trump has thrown everything up in the air. We knew tariffs were coming, for example, in China, but he introduces them one day before the most important political event of the year for the Chinese Communist Party. So in some ways, China has been wrong-footed by this. It's dealing with a slowdown in the property market. Local governments are heavily indebted and people are not spending money. Domestic demand is very low. Everything is based on exports, or so much is based on exports. So it's not so much the 5% that we're surprised by, but we are asking questions about how they will actually meet that target.
Do you think they have a plan, especially to fight back against the American tariffs?
Well, it's been very interesting. In recent months, there's been a strong focus on tech, particularly on AI. We had the Chinese company DeepSeek, you'll recall, a couple of weeks ago, came out with this revolutionary open source software. And we've also seen at the opening of the Congress today, Li Qiang, who's the head of Xiaomi, which is a mobile phone maker. He's been presented as a national champion, as a hero. So there's a real focus on tech. At the same time, this tech is very it's problematic because what you have is everyone is, for example, getting into excessive cutthroat competition. That's the word in Chinese at the moment, because they're under such pressure to provide growth. Everyone is doing things like they're building electric vehicle companies. You know, there's 200 electric vehicle companies in China, producing 10 million cars a year, which is creating massive overcapacity. But at the same time, local governments see this as a way to get money. So what you have are all these sort of different inconsistencies within the economy. So managing all of that while still pushing for this tech growth at the same time as cutting over capacity is going to be a real challenge for the Chinese Communist Party.
Is it also a clash of systems, don't you think? The central management of the economy at the same time participating in the global market economy?
Absolutely. What the economy needs is reform, but it's gotten to that point now in China that you can't really reform the economy without introducing political reform, and that won't be tolerated. So what we're going to, that's where we're at the moment now. There's this sort of a bottleneck. So it's going to be different measures looking for ways to meet this 5%. They will meet the 5% target because they always do, because you can massage the GDP figures, but the fundamental need for reform is not being met.
Talking about these 5%, China's military spending is to expand this year by 7.2%. That's 2.2% more than we just heard, which is higher than the economic growth of 5%. How do we read that?
Well, whenever you mention this, everyone says, yes, but America spends so much on defense. But if you strip that out, this is still a high figure. So what you're seeing is that military spending is increasing. That's going to, it increases every year. There's a lot of rumors at the moment that China's about to introduce a new aircraft carrier, possibly even a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, which would be a big game changer within the region in terms of asserting Chinese power in the region.
Currently they have one, right?
At the moment they've got two. Yeah. And so once this is introduced, this could be a whole new security situation in the South China Sea, for example, and also in terms of China asserting its power there. And then, of course, is Taiwan.
Thank you very much, DW's China analyst Clifford Coonan there.